A former UFC fighter has been shot dead on a residential street in Sydney's northwest.
Sydney, a city of beaches, business, and bright lights. But behind that skyline lies another world, a shadow network of gangs, guns, and revenge. And in April 2025, that underworld came to the surface in one of the most shocking daylight executions in Australia's recent history, the murder of Suman Mokhtarian, a former UFC fighter whose name once symbolized strength, ambition, and discipline. This is the story of how a fighter's journey from the cage to the streets ended in blood, and how his death revealed the brutal truth about Sydney's ongoing gang war. The calm before the storm. It was a quiet afternoon in Riverstone, a peaceful suburb in western Sydney. The streets were calm, kids coming home from school, families preparing dinner, life as usual. At around 3 p.m., a black car pulled up on a residential street. The driver, Suman Mokhtarian, had no idea that he was being watched.
It's a shame that this is happening in our community. You'd want to think that in a residential area like that, people could wander the streets at that time of night and be safe.
Nearby, two vehicles, a white SUV and a black Mercedes, were circling the area, waiting for the signal. Within minutes, the calm would shatter. Witnesses reported hearing multiple gunshots, followed by the sound of screeching tires. When police arrived, they found Suman slumped over the steering wheel, dead at the scene. The execution had been carried out with chilling precision. A man in a black Under Armour hoodie had stepped out of the car, fired several rounds, and vanished before anyone could react. It took less than 10 seconds. A professional hit. Who was Suman Mokhtarian? To most of Australia, the name Suman Mokhtarian wasn't unfamiliar. He had once been a UFC featherweight fighter, a man who represented the country on one of the biggest combat stages in the world. Born in Iran, raised in Sydney, Suman's life was defined by struggle and ambition. He and his brother Ashkan Mokhtarian trained tirelessly, building their reputation through local MMA circuits before stepping onto the international stage. In 2017, Suman joined the UFC, earning fans for his aggressive style and quiet intensity. He was the kind of fighter who didn't talk much, he let his fists do the talking. But like many athletes after the spotlight fades, Suman's post-UFC life wasn't easy. Friends said he became distant, withdrawn, and increasingly frustrated with the business side of fighting. He started spending time with the wrong people, some of whom had ties to Sydney's bikie underworld. The world of Sydney's gang war. To understand Suman's death, you have to understand Sydney's dark underbelly, a world of biker gangs, drug empires, and silent power struggles. Groups like the Comanchero Motorcycle Club, the Rebels, and Brothers for Life have been locked in a violent battle for years. Their fight isn't about motorcycles anymore. It's about control of the drug trade, money laundering, and influence inside prisons. When Alameddine, the national president of the Comanchero, was jailed for violating a serious crime prevention order, the balance of power shifted. His successor, Alex Vare, took control, but with every leadership change came instability. Detectives believe that under this tension, loyalties broke down. People switched sides. Old scores resurfaced. And in that chaos, someone like Suman, once connected to known associates, could easily become a target. The day of the execution. By 2:45 p.m., surveillance cameras had already captured two suspicious cars near Boomerang Road in Unanswered Park, close to where Suman was later found. Phone records later showed burner phones active in the area, used briefly, then switched off forever. At exactly 3:02 p.m., the killers struck. One stepped out, approached the vehicle, and opened fire through the driver's side window. Neighbors said the shots were so fast, it sounded like fireworks. The shooters fled immediately, abandoning the getaway car a few kilometers away, burned beyond recognition. Inside, investigators found melted metal, traces of accelerant, and no fingerprints. This was no street crime, it was organized, disciplined, and professional. The police investigation. The murder triggered one of Sydney's largest anti-gang investigations of 2025. Detectives from Strikeforce Raptor and Homicide Squad detectives joined forces to hunt down the suspects. They examined CCTV footage from over 70 cameras, tracing the movements of the two cars. They searched dozens of properties across Liverpool, Parramatta, and Blacktown, and they questioned several individuals linked to outlaw motorcycle clubs. One senior officer said, "This was a planned, coordinated execution, a message killing. We are dealing with serious organized criminals." The investigation revealed the hitmen had used advanced counter-surveillance measures, including signal jammers, burner SIMs, and stolen vehicles. This was a pattern police had seen before, in previous bikie hits linked to the Comanchero-Alameddine conflict. The aftermath. News of Suman's murder spread quickly across Australia. Fans from his MMA days were stunned. How could a disciplined athlete end up a victim in a gangland-style killing? For his family, it was unbearable. His brother Ashkan, also a fighter, posted a short message online: "My brother didn't deserve this." He was a fighter in every sense of the word. In the following days, tributes flooded social media, from fighters, coaches, and fans around the world. But among the condolences was confusion. Who ordered the hit, and why? Some reports suggested that Suman had been in a business dispute involving underworld figures. Others hinted at debts or betrayals within his circle. Nothing was confirmed. But one thing was clear: this was personal. Fear in Sydney's suburbs. Riverstone, once known for its quiet family homes, suddenly found itself at the center of Australia's media spotlight. Residents were horrified that a daylight assassination had happened right outside their houses. One woman told reporters, "We thought it was construction noise at first, then we saw police everywhere. It's like we're living in a movie." Local police increased patrols. Strikeforce Raptor carried out coordinated raids targeting biker hangouts, tattoo parlors, and clubhouses. But the fear lingered, because in Sydney's gang war, revenge never ends with one killing. Every execution is a message, and every message leads to another body. The broader war, Comanchero versus rivals. By mid-2025, the NSW police had already linked at least 9 shootings across Sydney to the same network of rival gangs. Many of those cases had eerie similarities: stolen cars, professional hits, burned evidence, and complete silence from witnesses. The Comanchero, long seen as Australia's most dominant outlaw motorcycle club, was facing increasing pressure from younger, ruthless networks like the Alameddine and Hamza factions, who were merging street-level crime with high-tech tactics. These groups don't wear colors or ride Harley-Davidsons anymore. They drive Mercedes-Benz, use encrypted apps, and operate like corporations. Police believe Suman may have been caught between these evolving power structures, perhaps knowing too much or being trusted by the wrong people. A fighter remembered. At his funeral, Suman's family requested privacy, but the outpouring of grief showed how deeply he had touched those around him. Friends described him as disciplined, humble, and loyal, a man who had once dreamed of opening a gym to train young fighters. Inside the MMA community, many said his death was a tragic reminder of how easily promising athletes can be pulled into dangerous worlds when the spotlight fades. An old coach told a reporter, "Suman had heart. He fought with courage, but outside the cage, he was fighting battles no one could see." The unanswered questions. Months after his death, police continue to pursue leads. Several raids have taken place, and a number of vehicles have been seized. But no arrests have yet been confirmed in connection to his murder. What remains is speculation. Was it a revenge hit? A dispute gone wrong? Or a warning to others inside Sydney's underworld? Detectives are certain about one thing: this was part of something much bigger than one man. It was a chapter in Sydney's ongoing criminal saga, where every death is both a message and a consequence. The price of silence. In Sydney's gang world, silence is currency. Witnesses rarely talk, evidence disappears, and by the time police piece the puzzle together, another hit has already been ordered. For the Mokhtarian family, justice is still a distant dream. For the city of Sydney, the cycle continues: guns, drugs, and revenge, hidden beneath the surface of everyday life. As one detective quietly admitted off camera, "You can lock up the killers, but the machine keeps running. There's always someone ready to pull the trigger next." Legacy of a fighter. Suman's story is tragic, not just because of how he died, but because of what it represents. A man who rose from nothing, built a name through hard work and discipline, only to be dragged into a war he never stood a chance of winning. He wasn't a gangster. He was a fighter. But in the world he found himself in, fighting wasn't enough. Today, fans remember him not for the headlines, but for his passion, his skill, and the courage that once made him a symbol of strength. And even though his story ended violently, it serves as a reminder that no matter how tough you are, the underworld shows no mercy. Sydney's gang wars are no longer fought in the shadows. They happen on the streets, in daylight, in neighborhoods once considered safe. The murder of Suman Mokhtarian wasn't random. It was a message, a demonstration of power, and a tragedy that left behind more questions than answers. A fighter's life ended in silence, but his story still echoes, through his family, his fans, and a city still searching for peace in the midst of chaos. Because in Sydney's criminal underworld, every victory is temporary, and every betrayal is permanent.